In this Griptape experiment, I wanted to experiment taking a contact sheet of black and white storyboard images, define a look and style, as well as lighting for it, and then transfer that across to the rest of the images. This way I could quickly explore different concepts before committing to the work. So let's look at how this is done. So we have our contact sheet in this lovely project from Aji, and we see that we have these images inside of here. Now, the thing is I want to work on these images individually. So for this, we use the image grid splitter node, and this will split these images up and then allow us to then work on these individually. So let's say this is my hero image. This is the one that I want to define the style and the light for. So that's the next section here, which is the style section. So I have a simple text input box that has 9 different prompts in it, and these are the different styles I want to explore. And then we're going to be using Seedream to generate those styles. Now you notice the Seedream node is inside a ForEach group, and what this is going to allow us to do is to iterate through each one of these prompts one at a time. So rather than asking Seedream to make a grid, I can actually get full resolution of everything. The model is focused on one prompt at a time, and we're doing a loop. So in order to get this running, we have our text box, and then we have it plugged into a split text. And this way we can plug the output into the items for the ForEach group. Into the images parameter is our hero image. And then on the inside of the group, we have our current item, which is our prompt, plugged into the prompt. And then the images plugged into the input images. And then on the split side of it, we are succeeded if the loop is complete. We plug those two in, and our image URL is going into the new items. Now to run this setup, I'm just going to plug any node. In this case, I want to see the output as a grid. So I'm using a display image grid node, and that's the node that gets run. So once it goes and iterates them one at a time through it, we have our output, and it's done exactly as we asked. And now let's say that I'm really enjoying this style, this 1950s vintage poster style, and I want to move this further. So now that we've done this, I want to explore different light scenarios to see if it holds up. This is what the lighting section is for our next one. So we have our hero image in a display grid, just so I can easily see which one I'm working on. And we're going to do the same setup, except this time in the text input, we're going for the different lighting conditions, bright sunny day, rainy evening, etc. And then we are also using Seedream for that. And then we're going to run that loop again. So this time we now have an output, and it's holding up in all the different scenarios I asked for. So I am going to commit to, let's say, this look down here. So I want to apply this to the rest of the images. This time we're going to do it a little bit different. So we have that initial contact sheet as well as the image grid splitter, just copy and paste it over from the beginning. But this time we're creating an create image list, and we're plugging each one of those into an item slot. And that is because we're going to be using a for loop node instead, so outside of the group this time. So the for loop start, we have a start of 0 and an end of 6, and that is because this image is considered 0, and then so on and so forth. And we want to run things in order and step through them one at a time. So we then have a get from list node. So this is plugging our ForEach into the flow in. The output of our create image list is going into the items. And then our index is being plugged into the index. So it'll automatically pick up 1, 0 to 6. And our position is set to index. So from here, this is going into our Seedream image generation. Our input image is our reference, right? And we know we have our hero image as a reference. And then we have the rest of those images being plugged into input images 2. Our prompt is pretty straightforward here. Transfer the style, lighting, shading style from input images 1, which is our hero. And don't add any new elements to the scene. And so once we want to complete our loop, we have a for loop end. And then from there, we have our, if it succeeded, add item to output. And then our image URL, which is all of our images stacked one at a time. It's going into our new items. So this is the node we would run to complete, to initiate the loop and complete the loop. So once we're done, we can see that we have transferred that style over across all the other images. Now, Let's say that we actually wanted to replace one of those images because we weren't happy with the output. Well, then in this case, we can go and split that particular image off. So we have our hero image, again, using our reference. And then we have our initial image from our contact sheet being plugged into the image we want to transfer the style to. And then we can make any tweaks to the prompt and then run the node and then get our output. Now, what the thing is, we want to bring this back into the mix. So what we can do here is a replace in list. And the replaced in list node, we want our image URL to be the new item. And then our images from before to be the items. And we want to replace by the index. And the index for this is going to be 2. And that is because we have image 0, 1, 2. And so then we can go ahead and run that, and then we can plug it into our next node in the chain. And then from there, we're just using a display image node so we can clearly see. And just like that, we're able to conceptualize a different style, different lighting, and then transfer that across the rest of the images here.